for outer action. So, although I wasn't here for the whole day, it seems like you had some really good input today. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have some ideas of how you might like to be greater channels for outer action? Yourself? You don't have to tell me. Just yes, no? You give some good ideas? And in order to do that, do you need to have more balance personally? Yes? Okay. So my talk today is Open Wide the Door, Keys for a Balanced Life. And my name is Joni Wellness. And I just lately got involved a little more in my own local community, just in the last couple weeks, or the last couple months. I'm going to be finishing up a Leadership Newark program, 2-year program, and we're working on our final project. Yes, I know, I see some everywhere in Newark. As I network with people, almost everyone I know is a graduate of this program. It's very exciting to me. And I was thinking that, if I move out of my Lincoln Park neighborhood, I'd like to at least leave the neighborhood a little better than I found it. Because sometimes I get discouraged. I was rah-rah in the Super Neighborhood program. Anybody remember that from a few years ago? And it sort of fizzled. And then I withdrew my energy, because I don't want to waste my energy. I want it to do well. And it just happened. I was inwardly meditating on this, and then I ran into somebody who put me in touch with a group that has just started up again. So I'm going to be helping to revive my Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association. And they got back together around safety. Of course, this is not what I was going to talk about, but they got back together around safety. And my passion is green stuff, trees and beauty. And I know from all the research I've done that when you plant trees in a neighborhood, the crime goes down. That's been proven statistically. You all know that? I'm telling you now.
Flowers are better.
And flowers also have an impact. And so the crime goes down, so that's sort of my take. And we're going to regroup our neighborhood association. I have the green team, there's going to be the safety committee and other committees. What I'd like to give you today, and I took these tree care classes, and just yesterday I was given a pair of pruners by the New Jersey Tree Foundation. I went around and pruned the trees in my neighborhood. So my neighbors, that was just yesterday. So I'm doing no great things, but small things with great love. You all know that quote, right? And we could also do great things with great love. So I'm going to give you some keys. And the keys I'm offering you, one are self-study. So whether you're active yourself as an individual or in a team, we still need to examine ourselves. The other is sustenance or nourishment. And I'm going to go over a few components of that. The other is what I call satsang, or being with like-minded or like-hearted individuals. And the other is service. So we do all these things of self-study and nourishing ourselves, filling the well, hanging out with people who inspire us, like attending a conference today. So you get ideas, you get inspiration, you network with people, and then you can become a greater channel for outer service. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So, in order to have more inner balance, what is balance anyway? Everybody stand up. You've been sitting for a long time. Stand up. I don't care if you hold on to the chair. Stand up. And just stand on one leg, or even two legs together, with your feet together. I'm going to stand in, I'll just stand like this. I would do tree pose, I'm a yoga teacher, so. And what happens with balance?
You lose it.
You lose it. But what is balance? Is balance being a stone statue? No, balance is recover. Try the other leg just for fun. Balance is the act of recovery all the time. It's a constant thing, like a blade of grass. The wind blows, crises come up, right? So balance is recovery balance. It's not something that you're stuck in or that you own. It's something that you're always working towards. Got it? Okay, have a seat. So what are we balancing towards?
Sustainability.
Sustainability, our center, right? Yes?
Yes.
Serenity, okay. Would you say that balance could be aligning with your own truth and living within that truth personally? Yeah? Okay. Well, everybody's in agreement here. I'm not preaching to the choir. I'm not preaching, but I have a rule of threes. I was just thinking that you've probably heard the same things all day in different ways. Is that true? But how many times do you need to hear something in order to actually get it?
A lot.
A lot, right. So I have this personal rule of threes. If I hear it 3 times, if I see, somebody sends me an email and then somebody's reading the same book, if I see it 3 times, I guess I'm supposed to take a look at that thing that I see 3 times. If I have a dream about it, that kind of thing. So if you've been getting a message at least 3 times today, it's probably something you need to take a look at. And if you didn't need to notice that, you wouldn't, right? Because that's your truth for right now. So, what are the obstacles? Somebody mentioned to only go forward and not be in the past. But does anybody else in the room besides me have baggage that they don't want to carry forward? Okay, so we don't want to deny that we still may need healing or balancing from the past. We want to acknowledge it so that we can leave it in the past. Does that make sense? So some of the techniques for that are just to acknowledge it and embrace it so that you can let it go, and also study how it's affecting you now. So there are root causes, spiritual causes for illness, for imbalance. And if you go inward and sit in self-study, and that can include just being in silence. It can be just being still. It can be listening, learning to listen to your own inner voice. And it can be also paying attention to your dreams. Anybody ever get answers from their own dreams? Yes? Would you like to get more of that? So the answers are already within us, and we're never given a problem without already being given the solution. So our dreams are one way of accessing that, and it just takes practice. You can start a dream journal. If you think, how many of you think that you don't have dreams? Or you don't remember them? So I'll give you a little technique right now. Before you go to bed, you have a little journal with a pen, and you just write an affirmation. I, not in the past, in the present. I remember and record my dreams, period. You can write it 15 times, you can write it once, and you go to bed with the feeling that you might, right? And then you will start to. It might not happen overnight, but you will. And we all do dream. So dreams, have given us many inventions. It gives us direction. So imagine your outer actions being led from a deep inner place of truth. Wouldn't that be more effective? Yes? Okay. So, it's acknowledging and revealing the obstacles so you can exhale them and eliminate them. And you can also find answers to your nourishment. So what is nourishment? What is nourishment? It's what we consume, meaning food, right? Actual little things that we put in our mouth, what we drink, the air, but it's also our environment, and it's also the company we keep, and the things we choose to take into our consciousness, like books and movies and music. True?
Yes.
So, like coming today, would you say this is a positive way of nourishing yourself?
Yes.
Okay. There are also a couple other things. In terms of diet, I've done raw, I've been vegetarian, I've done a lot of things. But we all have to figure out what's right for us for now, for this season, for this age, for this cycle that you're in. So I don't like to say right and wrong, it's just what is right now, what's right for you for right now. Does that open it up a little bit so you can relax a little? So it's not about right and wrong. And imagine if you got answers from your dreams or from your inner contemplations for what's right for right now, right? There's also things like whatever you are already consuming in terms of your food choices, if you chew a little more, you'll get a lot more out of it. You know about that?
Yeah.
There are people who've survived even concentration camps on a bite of something by chewing it 150 times. So that's one of the things I teach. Also, if you tune in before you eat, if you just sit in silence and have gratitude, and I think of where the food came from, who picked the food, the earth, who tilled the soil, all of that. If you have gratitude and sit, you will switch nervous systems and your body will produce oxytocin. You know what oxytocin is? I'm going to tell you. It's a hormone, it's a drug that your body already produces, because our body produces all the drugs we need, right? Anything you could take in a pill, your body produces. So I won't go into that, but you can get more oxytocin by pausing before you eat. So if you say grace before you eat, in whatever way that is for you, you'll digest more of the food that you're eating, whether it's junk food or organic food, whatever it is, you'll get more out of it. And if you're in company, shared meals, you tend to produce oxytocin. What other things give us oxytocin? Because this is a really important form of nourishment that's free and accessible to everybody. Anybody know? No, actually. Are you brave? Come on up. Give me a big hug. Strong hug. Good hug. Oxytocin right now. Get free oxytocin. Thank you. Handshakes that are at least 6 seconds. So glad to see.
You have to give her a couple more minutes for that.
6-second handshakes, oxytocin. And then of course there's breastfeeding and male and female orgasm and let's see, did I leave anything out?
Laughter?
Probably. Laughter also helps in. Laughter is very good. Speaking of laughter, do you know how many times children laugh a day?
A lot.
Over 600 times a day. Do you know how many times most adults laugh a day?
3.
It's just over 2 digits. 11 times a day. Yeah. So at one point in my life, I stopped watching the news before I went to bed, and the comedy channel had just been born. There were no commercials, and I just switched. And you know what? I got the news anyway.
Yeah.
I got all the satire. So these conscious choices, this is part of taking in positive things and making choices. Things that make you laugh and happy, and things that give you oxytocin, right? Choosing company, not toxic company, but company that, people you can hug, people that you can enjoy, people that inspire you and make you think and help you self-study yourself, somebody that can give you honest feedback. Also, if you need to get something off your chest, you don't want to be in denial about it. One thing that I do is I have several people that I can say, look, I need to get this off my chest. It needs to be in a safe container, confidential. I just need to get it out of my system so that I don't carry it to work or to my students. Does that make sense? And then it's gone. Or I journal about it. Or you could do vigorous sports. So speaking of that, you need to move your body. And it's actually not to burn calories. It is to use what you're given so you don't lose it. Does that make sense? You just need to move. For some people, walking is enough. Not everybody has to become a yogi and stand on their head like I do, although it's very effective. Smiling. also changes your state of consciousness. But you have to give yourself something to smile about, not about fake or forced. So one of the things you can do to give yourself something to smile about, and we can practice this right now. You want to? Okay, so does anybody have times when they're kind of down or depressed or you don't feel like serving? Okay, so right now, close your eyes. This will be very brief. Sit up tall. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax your face and your shoulders. Relax your tongue away from the palate. Relax the insides of your cheeks. And let your eyeballs go deeper into the eye sockets. Take your inner gaze down past the cheekbones to the center of your heart. And in your inner vision, connect with a moment when you felt pure joy and love. It might be when you were with a person or a pet, or in front of a sunset, or taking care of a plant in a moment when you felt pure love. Just nod your head if you're there. Okay. And then let yourself be filled with this feeling that you're anchoring into from the past. An anchor of love and joy. And take a watering can and fill the watering can with the waters from this moment of love and joy. Rise up above yourself to a timeline above your head and go forward on the timeline from the past to the present and start to sprinkle the loving, joyful waters down onto the present and going forward on the timeline into your future. So sprinkling the loving, joyful waters onto yourself in your current form and into your future. And when you're ready, come on back into your body right now. Take a soft breath, and as you exhale, open your eyes. So the past can actually help you if you anchor into moments like that. So I would call that creating an inner anchor. Yeah? So anytime you're feeling frazzled, you can, and again, it's not to deny your human emotions, it's to anchor yourself into a positive frame of emotions, mind, spirituality. And so we've got different kinds of nourishment. You can also, I'm sure you can brainstorm. You have your own things that you could do. Just shout out a couple, like listening to positive music, seeing a good friend. What else?
Sex.
Sex, okay. As we said, that actually, besides oxytocin, has a lot of good benefits. All right, it's God-given, right? You don't use it, you won't lose it. Don't worry. Planting, yes. Community gardens, planting things. It's symbolic, being around flowers. I'm actually going to wrap this up with a little story. Do you know the story of the 100th monkey? An island of Japan. Scientists were studying these monkeys, and the monkeys, they dropped sweet potatoes in the sand. The scientists dropped sweet potatoes in the sand, but they were sandy, so the monkeys didn't want to eat them. But one 2-year-old monkey discovered that she could take the sweet potato to the river and wash the sweet potato and eat it without the sand. And she taught this to her mother and to her other playmates of her own age. And the other 2-year-old monkeys and the little infant monkeys taught it to their mothers. And soon this whole colony of monkeys was washing their sweet potatoes before they ate it. And then a really strange thing happened. On the other islands, at a certain time, there was a critical number, so let's just say the 99th monkey began washing the sweet potatoes and eating them. At a certain point, this consciousness jumped to all the other islands, and all the monkeys started doing this new behavior. I still get goosebumps from this story. So I see this conference today, it's kind of like that. We're helping each other raise our consciousness, find practical things that you can start to do. And I'm going to offer you a gift. I do free conference calls on different subjects. My website is in there, my email's in there. If you just send me an email with conference calls, I'll send you a schedule of different things that we could continue to do together so that you can be a greater channel outwardly. And in closing, I'll just say that I like grassroots things. I think we can sustainably train ourselves into leadership that is a little less sloppy and has more integrity than some of what we see around us. So we can be the change. We can step into a whirlwind and create our own reality that is sustainable, and be willing to stop, self-study, and regroup, and change course or adjust course as you go. So there's a time to take the initiative, a time to be a follower, a time to be part of a group. Whatever you do, do with love and great humility, so we have less superstars and a lot more grassroots super teams. Thank you.